Welcome to the Enlightened Misfits podcast, a space for spiritual entrepreneurs who refuse to settle for anything less than their purpose. I am your host, Lauren Perlingi. After surviving a near-death experience and being declared gone for 3 minutes, I woke up with a mission to help women turn self-sabotage into self-compassion and fear into fuel. Here, we're going to dive into raw conversations, practical tools, and inspiring stories designed to help you break free from old patterns, claim your voice, and build a business that lights up your soul. If you've ever felt like you don't fit the mold, you're in the right place. This is where Misfits rise into their power. Welcome back to the Enlightened Misfits podcast, a space where we rise through our shadows, reclaim our self-worth, and build a life rooted in our soul's truth. So today I'm honored to welcome a very radiant, as if you can see her video, she's truly radiant. Her name is April. She is a mother, an empath, a plus size model, an influencer, an actress, humanitarian, and an advocate for every soul who has felt unseen. So she is a living reminder that we all matter. And as many of you know on the podcast, I speak a lot about that. So I'm super excited. This is like a third time coming us to try to record. So I'm super excited to have you on the podcast. But first, start us out with your story. So, like in your own words, what's your story and what brought you to this point in your healing, your success, and your mission to inspire?
Well, my story is one of developing self-love, self-confidence, and basically learning to give back to others once you fill your own cup. I've learned that you can't give to others if you don't have the self-love, the self-respect that you need. You're basically trying to give from an empty cup. So once you fill your own cup, then you can help someone else in need. And then you can both, prosper that way. I definitely believe in giving back to the community. Charity starts at home. And so I feel it's a fulfilling feeling to give back to others. Once you've gained prosperity, once you gain a certain knowledge, I feel you should pass it along and help the next individual. It's almost like, the saying, each one teach one.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you kind of take us a little bit, like back a little bit, like a little bit of like when you don't have to start at the beginning, but Cliff Notes version of your story, so we can kind of get to know you as a person and to kind of like where you kind of shifted or that moment that you kind of shifted into the points of your healing, your success, and your mission.
Well, actually, I was married for some years and my children were all younger. And you know how sometimes you may put your dream aside to raise your children. I was divorced,
Mhm.
and so I had to continue to work as a single parent. I still work now, but as the children get older, they're able to fend for themselves and all of that. So now you're able to finally do what you love to do, which is to serve and help others. I started out catering, feeding the homeless. I would also, just as I stated, just try to give back to the community, even with a small donation. I started that way. And then I stated, you know what, I want to do more. And so I started working nights and I stated, I thought to myself, I said, well, what can I do that would serve the masses on a grander scale? And then I said, well, I act a lot. I've done background acting. I've also played certain roles as a mother. Um, and I feel it's always good to be authentic in what you do. And usually when you're authentic, you do it well. And so I was like, why not play the roles of a mom, which is what I do at home, and just serve others. That's what I'm good at. When I cook, I'm serving my children. why not serve the masses, as far as feeding the homeless. Um, and then I wanted to go even further. I wanted to talk to individuals. You can't do it one on one all the time. So I said, let me use the platform, of social media and
Mhm.
become an influencer. And then I just started talking about relatable experiences, um, you know, stories that friends have told, my own experience. And then just, starting with that. It's always good to just start with what you know first, whether it's about health, um, whether it's about a certain opportunity, how to get there, how not to lose yourself and keep your integrity, and be honest in all things that you do. And it's not always about perfection either. It's about progress, making progress. No one is perfect, but as long as we make progress, even if we make mistakes, don't continue to make the same mistakes. And so I decided to use social media as a platform, just to speak about, as I stated earlier, relatable experiences that can help those who have lost their way.
Mm. I love that when you said lost their way. So
Yeah,
I mean, to me, just listening to all of that, I feel like your story is very incredibly inspiring.
thank you.
And I feel like, so when you said, divorce,
Hmm.
now did you go through narcissistic abuse, or is this from like your past of like breaking through that? Is that kind of some of your
Um,
story too as well?
I would say a little bit of both.
Okay.
The one-sided attention, the one-sided story, the not reciprocating love,
Mm-hmm.
not reciprocating communication, you know, um, and part of it can be narcissistic traits, where one can ignore the other and you feel isolated and, feel like you just can't go on sometimes. But I am proud that I overcame that. Um, I kept busy. And it's not that you don't feel hurt. It's not that you don't have those feelings where you want to cry and give up. But when you have a spiritual background and a belief in a higher calling or a higher being, that's what strengthens your faith, where you're able to continue to move forward. And then you help someone else once you heal.
Right. Yeah. So you kind of talk a little bit about like, would you agree, or maybe a defining moment where you reclaimed your power? Because from what I understand through my own experience or journey,
Hmm.
the narcissistic abuse that I mean, because here's the thing, we're mirrors, right? So it's
Yes.
like, what was I inside of me attracting to that
Hmm.
until I figured out, oh, that's not who I am. I'm gonna, go this way.
Exactly.
I know that's very triggering for some people. I've said this on a podcast. I think I was interviewed a couple weeks ago,
Hmm.
and the whole mirroring effect. People are like, "Oh no, that's not me." And I'm like, "That is exactly the reason why you should probably look at that within yourself, because if you're, like pushing away or kind
Hmm.
of, what's the word? Kind of like, suppressing or rejecting that part of yourself,
Yes.
that's that distortion of our own like self. Would you
Yes.
not agree? Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And it's like you're becoming delusional, you know.
Right.
And then too, you have to not let other people siphon your energy. You know,
Right.
they don't tell your story. You need to tell your story.
Right.
And sometimes we want to I guess be people pleasers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not who we are. you
Yeah.
know um we
Yeah.
need to learn to be authentic, speak up, and even when you speak up, you can be tactful about it. It's not about
Yeah.
being mean or ornery or angry. Just state, well, that's not what I wish to do at this time. I rather do this or that, and be okay with that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely the whole people pleasing, I feel like that also I think that most listeners on that listen or guests on the podcast, even me, I've dealt with some people pleasing tendencies. And I think it shows up a little bit in my business here and there when I
Yes.
need to reevaluate my boundaries.
Right.
And I think that that is really important because obviously the boundaries myself, I'm crossing them. Why am I
Right.
angry? Because I'm
Right.
allowing my boundaries to be crossed. And I think that also is like going back to like the distorted sense of self that like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a lot of big lies that society or our parents or conditioning tell us.
Yes.
Would you not agree as well?
Yes, I
Yeah.
definitely agree. You know, if we're raised a certain way,
Yeah.
you can be, I guess, molded into,
Yeah.
learning a staunch view of a certain religion or, just anything in life that you may not agree with once you get older because you develop your own sense of self and your own mindset.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was gonna say, so, for those people listening, maybe, or they're kind of staying silent because they're trying to keep the peace, like in
hmm
a family dynamic, we see that a lot too,
hmm
or even on our own family dynamics,
yes.
because maybe they feel ashamed. Like, how did you kind of move through your own self-blame, fear, guilt, whatever it was that came up through when you were leaving the situation, or even now?
I would have to say prayer and then working in harmony with my prayer. It's just like God help me find a job.
Hmm.
Well, you don't want to just say the prayer, you want to actively look for one as well.
Yeah,
The divine blesses effort. So once you put
right.
forth the effort and you start taking action, that's the start that you need. Just take action. Don't think about it too long, don't remain stagnant. Just take action and go forward.
I have to say, I love that you say action because I
Yes.
think that we're in a world, there's part of the world thinks that like, whatever their higher power belief is, whatever, universe, God, whatever, source, whoever, it's all the
Right.
same, but whoever it is,
Right.
their higher power, their higher self, whatever, um, that they're like, oh, okay, I'm like you just said, I'm going to do prayer, or I'm going to do this. And then like,
Right.
I'm not going to do anything after. And then when I ask the question, okay, so tell me what the things that you did,
Right.
there's nothing. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's not how this works.
Exactly.
But I feel like all of us, I mean, I think I probably have done the same of like, I'm just going to give it to the universe and like,
Yes.
yes, I'm going to actually do all the things I need to do and then give it. Because the how is kind of like how us humans, right? We like to
Yes.
control, I want it to be this way and this way and this way. And it's like, no, that's not actually how this works here. Like, it was always a
Exactly.
reminder, like, no, Lauren, this is not how this works here. You're not the one that dictates things.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you talked earlier a little bit about, like self-love and,
hmm
you know, like it starts to kind of feel like a reward versus like a chore.
hmm
What kind of practices have helped you rebuild your relationship with yourself?
I would say stating affirmations, positive affirmations.
Okay.
Um, a simple, um, you know, simply stating positive affirmations, the words that we speak, even about ourselves, it matters.
Yeah.
You know, we can say negative words. Oh, I'll never find another spouse, or I'll always be broke. We have to remove those negative statements and start replacing it with something positive, and not just to say it, but believe it. And then once we believe it and we say it, it happens. It's almost like speaking. The words that you speak are almost like spell work.
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
if you say something negative, if you really believe something negative and you state it, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah.
But if you believe what you say and it's positive, and you have an absolute belief system, it works. The universe will return it right back to you. I'm a firm believer in that, and it has happened for me.
And if this episode is bringing something up for you, especially around relationships, people pleasing, overgiving, emotional triggers, or repeating the same patterns, I want you to grab my ebook. This ebook will help you start seeing the subconscious patterns that have been running your life, your relationships, and your reactions, so that you can finally release what no longer feels aligned. It's not about blaming yourself. It's about understanding yourself, regulating your nervous system, and choosing different from a place of self-trust. If you're ready to stop repeating the same cycles and come back home to yourself, grab my ebook. The link is below in the show notes. Yeah. Now, what would you say? Because I do believe that, I do believe what you're saying. However, the question is, I literally am just hearing it. Like, but yeah, I do that and I still have this. Like, what would you
Right.
say to those people that are just, it's kind of like what I say, like the affirmations part, it's kind of like the action part. Like,
Yes.
you're saying the affirmations, but then you just said you have to believe it. So it's
Yes.
then you're going into your beliefs and like, what do I actually believe? And I think
Right.
that that's the part that I want to like mirror back and like actually say,
Mm-hmm.
because, people are like, oh, it doesn't, I say these affirmations. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, if you scream affirmations in a mirror in your face and you don't believe it, that's not what
Right.
we're talking about here.
Exactly.
We're talking about something else. We're talking about your beliefs along with the affirmation. So thank you for saying that, because I think
Yes.
I've been seeing posts about different stuff, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you have to have these affirmations or go say this or that. And I'm like,
Right.
but like, okay, so somebody tries that and then they're going to be like, it's not working. And then here comes the shame, the guilt, the self-blame. I'm not doing it right. I don't deserve this. Like it's all
Right.
of that that comes in.
Mm-hmm.
They're beautiful identities. Don't get me wrong.
You're
Like
right.
we need them, right? But it's
Right.
like, how long are you going to carry that? Right?
Well, you know what? With that, I would say that's when it comes to that's when you have to start knowing who you are.
Hmm.
Um, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
Everything takes time, and it's not some hocus pocus trick.
Yeah, it
You
says spell
actually
work
have to
here.
work at anything
Yeah.
that you want. You have to work at it,
Yeah.
and it's not going to just come out the sky. You have to put forth the effort, and then develop the habit,
Yes.
form good habits. And statistically, we know that any good habit, it takes approximately 21 days or more.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
um, putting forth the effort, developing good habits, eventually it won't be just a trend or something to do. It'll become part of your life,
Right. Yeah.
and so that's what we need to, focus on.
Yes, yeah. And I think thank you for sharing all of those practices and just like that wisdom, because I think, a lot of people think that, um, healing has to be hard. People are like, oh, I chose this. I want to unsubscribe to this. I feel like
Right.
all of us have that,
Right.
that test of our ego. And I
Right.
think that right now it's the same thing of like, that's why they, hear of ego deaths. And it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like we are like evolving into a new identity of our ego. And that's why I kind of said, the shame, the guilt, all of that, like we all have to move through that. And I see so many people, the reason why I'm talking about this, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
too, is because I see so many people do this spiritual bypass of
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm going to bypass that. And then here they are back at step one. Of like,
Mm-hmm.
I already did that. And I've even had a client say to me, "Hey, I already did that in 2020." And I'm like, well, now it's 2026 and you're still having the same problems that you had at 2020. So like, what did
Exactly.
you do? Right. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel, and I'm going to send this podcast episode to her. There you go. This will be, because I feel like it's really important and nobody's talking about it. Like nobody's
Mm-hmm.
talking about, how, yes, we at one point identified as a victim in our story until we're not, right?
Right.
Like
That's right.
that's the part of the story,
Mm-hmm.
like just like tarot, like we all start out as the fool.
That's right.
Right? Until we
That's
get to
right.
the end and we're like, oh, okay, we got to go do this again. And
Right.
I think especially, you as being an empath, um, how do you like protect your energy? Especially now, it's
Mm-hmm.
really, really important. I mean, it's always important, but especially
Yes.
going on. You know, the astrology is crazy right now.
Yes, it is.
All good for best and highest good, but it's crazy. I just want to
Right.
be honest. It's very crazy right now.
Yes.
And like, how do you protect your energy and choose relationships that really honor your heart and your boundaries?
Well, you want to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. You want to get away from toxic energies. You know, um, that people can also be addicted to negative energy, speaking negative, words and all of that. So it's time to, I would say, just remove yourself from anything that's toxic and surround yourself. If you have to find yourself a new soul tribe,
Yeah.
pray for that. You change yourself, you change your life, where you won't have to chase anything. You'll start attracting what you become. When you want to become a better person, develop better habits, speak well of yourself, get rid of the lack mindset, the poverty mindset. And when you start, developing those new habits, then you'll start attracting positive things towards you and like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's how I
why,
usually protect my energy or my aura.
yeah, I was gonna say also too, like gratitude. I feel like sometimes I slip into this like I don't want to call it a victim mindset, but it's kind of
Right,
like, oh, nothing's going my fucking way right now.
right,
Like this sucks. I don't want to be here. Why did I, all that stuff, and it's
right.
like, hold up, hold up, hold up. Like, what going back to like looking outside or like being in nature of like how can the trees, the birds, they can all be happy and all the animals and all like, but I, like we're
Right.
all one and we're all together. And it's like, oh, I got to go back. Am I doing my gratitude? Am I focusing on myself? I feel like
That's
that
right.
is, like I always, and a true believer of this, that a grateful heart is a magnetic for anything that
Yes,
you want,
yes.
right? Because it's
When
like
you
we
wake
don't
up, say
want,
thank you to the divine for even
yeah,
waking up.
yeah, yeah.
Be grateful for everything that you have because it could be worse.
Right. And
Yeah.
it feels like, I feel like the universe has a very interesting and funny way to show you, oh, okay, you don't like your life. You have this, you don't have this, you don't have that. And it's like you
Mm-hmm.
have more of that.
That's right.
I learned very early on that I was like, oh, the universe has very short vocabulary. So be it. So, okay. So like, so be it. All right. So I'm like thinking all this stuff. I'm doing all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then I'm like, how about if I do the opposite and
Mm-hmm.
do the opposite of like, this is what I want, this is what I expect, and like be that, also mirroring that back, I feel like is the important first step
Yes.
of if that's what I'm giving the universe is also going to give me exactly what I expect.
That's
Like,
right.
we're not half-assing shit around here,
That's right. You have to do the work.
Yes. Yeah. And that's another thing too about doing the work. And I feel like so many people, you can't fake doing the work.
No.
The divine sees it.
That's right.
It's all about like frequency,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Yeah. So how does staying in alignment for you or like staying in alignment with the divine look like for you? Like how do you reconnect with yourself daily
Mm-hmm.
when your life gets noisy?
Well, actually, when I come up with those relatable experiences
Hmm.
or pep talks or podcast episodes,
Hmm.
when I'm encouraging others, it serves as a reminder for myself. And
Right.
that's how I stay in alignment. That's why I
Yeah.
said everything comes back in a circle. You give to others, it comes right back to you. That's how the universe works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say I wholeheartedly agree with that because one thing I love to do every single week, and now I
Hmm.
record 2 episodes, sometimes even three,
Wow.
is my podcast. Like it's
Yes.
where I like to show up. It's where I put a lot of my energy in. It's where I
Mm-hmm.
connect. It's where I network. I just love it because it's like, and it's always, it's funny. Somebody said to me, oh, do you like scout people out for your podcast or do
Mm-hmm.
no, people just schedule my requirement or like my like agreement with
Yes.
the universe is people on the podcast that are aligned with the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not here to like, oh, your story's not this or not. Like I'm not here to be the judge. It's just
Right.
the universe takes care of that.
That's right.
Same thing with all of my clients. Like if somebody needs me, I don't, of course I need to do my part and, promoting, marketing, all of that. But
Right.
like if somebody needs me or, I need to help them or maybe they need to help me because like I have
Mm-hmm.
had plenty of client lessons of like why I'm attracting this person or I'm attracting that person.
Yes.
And you learn through relationship, right? Like
That's right.
regardless if it is your business or a personal relationship. Yeah, so I always, through our conversation, it brings up another thing too, is where I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm going to be single. I'm never going to be with somebody again."
Mm-hmm.
What would you kind of say what's going on with that when people get to that place?
Well, I would want to say that don't give up.
Hmm.
Don't give up so easily. As I stated before, how you speak, what you say about yourself, your feelings and all of that. Just try to say things that are positive, you know. Um, and another thing besides affirmations, you can say affirmations, you know.
Yeah.
And with that, you're asking questions as if it has already taken place. You're stating things as if it has already taken place. So um it's not like being a robot. You have to have a you definitely have to have a belief system. Believe what you say, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself first and then, start acting in harmony with it.
Yeah.
And it'll come back to you. And
Yeah.
then even when you're not looking for it, it'll appear
Yeah.
to your surprise or not.
Yeah, or not. Yes. Yeah, especially because I hear all these people now, they're like, oh, AI is taking over. And here's my perspective on it. It's like AI
Hmm.
has helped, is helping so much with all of us, but
Yes.
it's also helping with pulling out or weeding out the people that are not authentic, and
Hmm.
especially in business, because a robot can or an AI can mirror you, but you
Yes.
have to tell it what to do.
That's right.
So it's like it's not just going to randomly say I'm not doing that, except
Right.
for I want to say it's funny. It was a meme and it was like, what did you name your robot? Well, I've been trying to use Claude with also Chat GPT, and
Right.
I wanted to call her a different name, and she goes, "No, I'm Claude." Like she was telling me, "No, you can't change my name." And I was like, "Oh, okay. This is the first time I've actually had an interaction with an AI that does not
Wow.
want name change." I think it's more. I mean, this is probably programmed like that, but it was just funny that I'm like, "Oh, okay. My Chat GPT lets me name her." So
Right.
moving on like from that, but I'm just saying that like when you talk about authenticity, I think that people think that they're authentic, but
Hmm.
they're not. And not that
No.
I'm the one that's judging them, but it's mirrored into everything that they don't even know who they are or
No.
what they're, and it goes back to what you said in the beginning. Find out who you are,
Hmm.
belief system. What do you believe? What are you saying to
Yes.
yourself? you
Yes.
know, diving deeper into like what your goals are. And I think that that
Right.
is, you know, um, really important, especially, when it comes to what I love the way that when you go onto social media on your podcast, and because society can be a really, um, let's just use the word harmful
Yes.
narrative, especially with like body image, for instance,
Yes.
right? So, like, how do you kind of embrace your power and stay in that power when you're trying to influence other people over on social media?
Well, as I stated before, as we both talked about, just remaining positive, but um, not seeking validation from
Mm,
others.
yeah,
If you're in alignment with the divine or the higher being, whoever that may be,
yeah,
if you're in alignment with them and you know what you're doing is working, then stick with that. You know, um, and we're not for everyone.
yeah,
Everyone is not going to like you.
right.
We have to be realistic as well. So I've come up with my own definition of success. To me, success is not, human validation becomes mute when you're serving your life's purpose. That's success to me.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with money. We need money, but you need to also have a balanced view of money. Money is to be self-sufficient and to help someone else in need. You know,
right.
money is also energy. So if you have a lack mentality, then, money will become scarce.
Right.
So, I even say affirmations for money, whatever I spend, for the needs of myself and others will return to me tenfold,
Yeah.
things like that. So it's your belief system, it's who you're seeking validation from.
Yeah. And I love that you speak about money that way. I feel like all of us have probably wounds around money in some
Yes.
aspect. And I think that when I started to, I didn't realize when somebody said, well, you need to look at the way that you speak about money. And I'm like, wow, I don't really care. Like,
Right.
and then they're like, okay, well, there you go. And I'm like, well, like there's been times in my life if I've had a lot of money and there's times in
Hmm.
my life that I didn't, I don't, it doesn't define me. Like I don't care. Like I
Right.
just can't help people as much when I don't have enough money just for myself or my family or my kid or whatever.
Right.
So I'm not able to give a lot,
Hmm.
just give as much as I can. Like I'm always
That's right.
giving something, like that type of thing. Or like maybe
Yes.
I can't donate to my favorite charity
Charity.
or something like
Hmm.
that. And then when somebody had asked me that question of like, okay, so like if you look at money as like a man, or like if you're a man listening to this, a woman, whatever,
Hmm.
whoever like your other, partner is,
Hmm.
because now it can go both ways. So like whatever, the other counterpart, and you're saying I don't care about you. Well, are you
Right.
going to come back to that person? And I'm like, well, no, I really
Right.
care. And they're like, okay, so money doesn't care to come back to you. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, it's so interesting to look at it that way because like
Yes.
it is that. So I didn't care about money and money didn't care to be around me,
Exactly.
at that time. So it's
Right.
like, you're right. Like, it's
Right.
like, how do you speak to that? Now it's like, even if it's like, my $8.50 I get from Facebook.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I'm so grateful. Cause like,
That's
okay,
right.
so now then it comes in other ways and even if it's that little amount,
Yes.
I'm grateful for it because that could buy a coffee or this could buy that. And it's like I can see now. And I think that
Hmm.
that's really important, especially when money is a huge part of people's safety.
Yes.
But thank God for me, it never was a part of mine. I could have
Hmm.
negative $500 in my bank account. And I know you guys are
Yes.
all thinking I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, it didn't matter to me because it's like
Hmm.
I trusted that like, here we go.
Right.
I'm doing what I'm doing. And like, and then it came back to me. And it was like I
That's
didn't
right.
put that energy into that. There is sometimes I'm like, okay, universe, like we're getting a little crazy here. And then it came.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I love that you said that because I think that that is super important.
Yes.
Yeah. So I could talk about this all day, but
Me too.
before we wrap up, can you tell the listeners where they can find you and then one just nugget of wisdom that you can leave them with them and me too, us
Okay.
today to kind of move forward with, maybe
Yes.
our goal is, goal is progress, but not
Hmm.
perfection, like
Yes.
for our healing journey.
Yes. Well, you can find me, of course, on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Hmm.
I also have a website, uhfine.com.
Hmm.
I also have a GoFundMe account
Okay.
where you can donate towards UH Fine's mission to inspire. That's also a donation fund to help all in whatever situation. And as far as advice, um, I would say, as we talked about earlier, protect your energy. Protect your energy, protect your aura, um, maintain a high vibration so that you can attract it back to you. Find your soul tribe, like minded individuals, so that you can stay on the right path.
Yeah, I love that. Love, love, love that so much. Well, thank you so
Yes.
much for this powerful conversation. I feel like it activated something in my soul. I'm not sure what, but
Yes,
it
you're
did.
welcome. Thanks for having me.
I feel my heart is like full. So thank you so
Yes.
much. I hope the listeners you feel that as well. Make sure that you go connect with her, go follow her on Instagram, Facebook, go check out her website as well. And if this episode resonated with you, please share this with somebody that you feel that would need these words today. And also make sure you subscribe and follow along so you never miss the stories. And also April's links will also be below in the show notes. And if you're watching this over on YouTube, they will be below in the description box. And if you feel called to go deeper, I love to welcome you into the Enlightened Misfits Sisterhood, where we rise together in community, healing, and purpose. The links for that will also be below in the show notes or over on YouTube. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you next week. If today's episode spoke to you and you're ready to rise with support, I'd love to invite you in to the Enlightened Misfits Sisterhood, a sacred community for spiritual entrepreneurs to heal, grow, and lead with purpose. You can join us by using the link below in the show notes or connecting with me over on Facebook or Instagram at The Mermaid Light. If you loved today's episode, subscribe, share, and leave a review. This helps support us reach more women who are ready to rise. Remember, your journey isn't about fitting in. It's about embracing the truth of who you are. Until next time, stay inspired, stay aligned, and keep creating your extraordinary path. This is Lauren, and you've been listening to the Enlightened Misfits podcast.